Dear friends, most welcome to EPG Pathshala. I'm Dr. Beck, Professor in the Center for Community Organization and Development Practice in the School of Social Work, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. The module that I'm going to touch is working with groups in the context of community practice. Now, community practice requires working with people. And community being too huge, we have several groups. And groups come into existence based on social structures, interests, regions, religion, and various likes and dislikes. And working with all these groups would enable us to working with community based on various issues of communities. Because groups can form communities, but communities may not be able to be a part of or comprise a group. So in a broader sense, groups are parts of the community, and working on community issues through groups are much more feasible, much more constructive, and much more helpful. So this is what we are going to deal. So this module will give us to understanding the community organization in the first place. Secondly, understand the significance of working with the various groups, and understand the group's dynamics in community. That apart, also understand the challenges working with groups in the community. As part of introduction, as I have rightly mentioned, that groups are integral part of communities. Therefore, it is important also to see the communities as to what it means. It refers to two kinds of major sources of people. First, it may be all the people in a specific geographical area. It may be a village, town, city, neighborhood, or a district in a city. Secondly, it is used to include groups of people who share some common interests or functions such as welfare or agricultural activities. Community organizations bringing these persons together to develop some awareness of and a feeling of their community and to work at common problems arising out of the interests or functions they have in common. Therefore, community organization, further in its generic sense as deliberately directed, efforts to assist groups in attaining unity of purpose and action. It is practiced, though often without recognition of its character, wherever the objective is to achieve or maintain a pooling of the talents and resources, is to achieve or maintain a pooling of the talents and resources of two or more groups on behalf of either the general or specific objectives, as per Wayne Macmillan, 1947. Further, Costa-Yosum, 1993, also defines as a process of unfolding the potentialities of persons to the level where they can exercise the faculties that will enable them to create, act, and manage resources to live a decent life. Moreover, it is a process in which local people, united by concerns for renewing their own small territory, plan and act together from an organizational base that control them. It is a practice that evolves collective human efforts centered mobilization advocating, planning, and coordinations. Having seen the concepts of community, let's further go down to look at the importance of working with the different groups. Why do we have to work with the different groups? Now, these groups have to be brought together. The dynamics needs to be resolved so that they work as united force to tackle the issues of the community to have a better quality of life altogether. Therefore, it is a democratic process. Citizens' participation, group determination, empowerment, multiculturalism, and leadership development, these also form the values of community practice. Working with groups is essential to community organization. Many groups in the community without mutual dependency. Work of the organization is largely the work of the groups. Successful organization is functioning of successful groups. Ensuring authentic participations for transformation. Community organizations works with the group to make them interact with one another for achieving the goals of the community, unite and collaborate to achieve common goals. Organizing functional communities essentially for capacity development, participation, and voice their concerns. Empowerment is a psychological feeling that individuals have when they believe they can accomplish chosen goals. It is also political organizational strength that enables people to collectively carry out their will. Success of community organization work largely depends upon the extent of motivating the entire group. There are three factors to help the group to move towards its goals. First, the clarity about the group goals, that is very essential, because without clarity, people will deny coming together and devote their energy and time and work cohesively as one unified group. Therefore, recognitions and clarity of these group goals are very essential. Second, the location of the group is related to the goals, because it may affect the groups directly. If they are far away of the locations of the goals, they may not be directly affected, and hence the commitment and the level of seriousness working as a group to resolve the issue may be sidelined. Thirdly, the identifications of actions to achieve the goals. Now, what could be the actions of the groups that required to be identified, recognized, and give a commitment to work together? Working with group provides there is a possibility of getting a variety of options and informations. At times consensus, which is considered an ideal way of mutually select options, but often the consensus may not be possible. Therefore, what we'll have to look at in the group is the majority opinion. Even that would suffice paramount to consensus for the group. Now, the community organizations must have casework and group work skills. Apart from community organization skills to work with individuals and groups in the community, Rothman aptly in 1968 suggested the following rules of thumb. Locality development is used when populations are homogeneous or when consensus exists among various groups, supports, and interests. Social planning, on the other hand, is adapted when community problems are fairly routinized and can be solved through the applications of actual informations. When community subgroups are hostile, and interests are not reconcilable, though usual discussions methods, social action must be most suitable options. Now the role allocation, because in groups there are several people, each one of them needs to be taken in confidence because each one is a very precious person, no matter what one could contribute to the comprehensive resolutions of the issues and problems. Therefore, delegations and allocations of functions of the group work requires to be given to each of the group members. Aptly, the study of Bales indicated the importance of role differentiations in groups. Theory of role differentiations, importance of allocation, distinct roles to members in the group for carrying out different types of tasks in different situations. Nature of these roles is dynamic rather than static. Certain attitudes and behaviors which are associated with different roles, which are called role identity. Role expectations are how others expect a person to behave in certain roles. Confronted by divergent role expectations where the role conflict arise. Groups are formed as individuals interact in definite location and perform tasks or cope with problems that cannot be handled individually. Therefore, a group forms from initial togetherness when the following four essentials are satisfied. A motivation base shared by individuals, which is conducive to recurrent interactions among them over time. Formation of an organization or development of group structures consisting of differentiated roles and statuses and delineated in some degree from that of non-members. Formation of a set of norms, the values, the roles and standards for behaviors, because these groups requires to follow these different aspects of the faculties as a group in a strict sense of the terms, consisting differential effects on the attitudes and behavior of individual members produced by the group properties. Now there are groups which will often face intergroup dynamics, and these group dynamics obviously emerge because people are dynamics, their interests, their perspectives keep on changing, and likely they can be subdued by all these different aspects of their perspectives, and hence possibility of dynamisms emerging and occurring within the group itself. So community integration is determined by the kind of relationship that exists between various groups in the community. Working with groups, understand the interpersonal relations within a group is necessary for addressing differences. Group dynamics are manifested in the members' interactions, acceptance or rejections in the group, verbal and non-verbal communications. The workers must facilitate the processes, avoiding conflicts and evolving roadblocks so that members can benefit from the positive and constructive group experiences. The conflict of interest model. Group conflicts as the direct outcome of the competition between separate groups to achieve the same goal, or when they have differences and mutually incompatible objectives. For example, a group waiting to provide a better role for women in society and another wanting to maintain the status quo will come into a direct conflict, and it will make the group to work a tedious and difficult situation. However, when separate groups are faced with the situations where they both want to achieve a common goal, hostilities between them are likely to decline. For example, various groups in community may sink their differences if the existence of the value of community is threatened, and therefore bringing collaboratively and appealing the goals of groups for every of the group members is essential, and hence the effort of minimizing and eliminating the group dynamics in order to make the group much more stronger and work with a uniformed group action for better community building efforts. The social identity model. The group needs to identify with a particular groups where probably all the members belong to the same social group. If they don't, the dynamisms are bound to occur. So social identity is the cause of intergroup conflict. People endeavor to deprecate the out-group to establish the superiority of their own group, hence leading to conflict. There are two models that are used for resolutions for intergroup conflicts. The introductions of superordinate goals, that is, identifications of goals which are equally important for conflicting groups. Because if the goals are superior and identified as their own goals, the conflicts or dynamics may not arise, because this is the goals that they are also going to benefit, and they are also going to adhere and put all their energy and commitment to work towards and achieve the goals to its entirety. The second, the grid model for resolving intergroup conflicts, was mooted by Osgood. GRID stands for Graduated Reciprocation in Tension Reduction. Now, one group should unilaterally launch a peace offensive which is likely to generate a reciprocal response from the other party. Resolutions of intergroup conflicts requires understanding of intra-group and intergroup dynamics. Dynamics can occur within the group members themselves in the same group. So not necessary that conflict starts with one group with the another, which is likely to happen even otherwise. So it will be essential to recognize and identify these dynamics in order to bring the cohesiveness and unify the group to better functioning. Both models should be applied simultaneously to at least contain conflicts if they cannot be altogether resolved. Relationship between the worker and the group members is a major source of workers' influence. The real power of the worker arises, therefore, from his capacity to influence a situation within the group, to influence, guide, and direct group processes and interactions within the groups. So how can we beautify and strengthen the interpersonal relationship in order to bring the unity of the group? So the relationship starting from the worker would be very important, and it would be the effort of each of the group members to bring and streamline a well-coordinated behavior and I would say, the energy of working and coming together as a group. Power of group norms and their influence on individuals is a natural phenomenon. Glorifications of the group and partial deprecations of the out group will always remain. Now, the power relations within and among groups. Power relations within and among the groups depends how powerful a group is vis-a-vis how powerful are the other groups. Study of the power structure is necessary to make the community organization's process successful through effective participation. The community organizer must study the following. First, how do some people influence the actions of others? The best examples are set are the faculties of the self, which are always outgoing for the benefit and influence and betterment of the other person. A person who is pro other individuals in the group will be always shine and will have a tremendous effect and influence on the others. Who wield the power and how is it wielded? What are the issues and what are the results? These are important components for the community organizers for a complete study of. Once a community organizer understands the power structure in the community, it becomes easy for the worker to facilitate the change processes. The worker needs knowledge about mobilizations of the power in the community for achieving the set group goals. Techniques for mobilizations of power. Appealing to the persons with power who are related with requests of help for achieving the goals. So can these power blocks in different groups or within the arena of the same group be brought together and aligned for the achievement of the same group? So there would be the element of acceptance, recognition, acknowledgement, which will enable the entire to come together and proceed achieving the group goals. Relating the power center directly to the goals. So how can we relate these different power groups or say power centers to work together and not to stand aloof and apart? Formation of new groups by including members of power centers to achieve the goals. Encouraging members of power centers to join with other members of power centers to achieve the goals. They also can pick up the examples and learn and gradually get in tuned to the powers which other group members also will have. Using group work methods, new large power centers can be strengthened to achieve the goals. Two models of community power structures. Now these are the stratification model. Social class principally determines the distributions of community power. The power structure in community is composed of stable upper class elite whose interests and outlook on community affairs are relatively homogeneous. Similarly, pluralist model. There are numerous small special interest groups that cut across class lines. Interest groups with overlapping membership, widely differentiating or differing power bases having influence on decisions. Community decisions are the result of the interactions of these different interest groups. Now, there are diverse other challenges while working with the groups. These are important because these challenges needs to be confronted and resolved for a better functioning of a group for goal achievements. Relationship structure in a community is based on relative power each group possesses. Equilibrium is more stable where one group has considerably more power than the others. Where two or more groups have approximately equal power, relations are more strained. The worker will find it easier to work with the former situation and the monopolizing by the dominant group. In community organization, disadvantaged groups articulate their demands and preferences by achieving their goals with freedom, which results in their empowerment. When people are organized, they get the power and further united to work together to stand against exploitation. The role of community organizer is to promote participations of special interest groups. Promotions of participation of different special interest groups, because groups have different faculties. Some may have a better, while the others may have a bit inferior, and hence pooling these faculties and energies and resources of different groups would be very important. Ensuring inclusive and widespread involvement, the worker can help to create a sense of community consciousness. Particularly, the participants should be encouraged to connect the dialogue with action steps. Worker guides the process and ensures that the group facilitates respectful, productive discussions on their own. Worker tries to uncover areas of agreement and common concerns. Community organizations draws disadvantaged groups into the community decision-making processes by increasing their power through conscientizations. Two strategies are advocated to development of conscientization amongst disadvantaged groups. That is, strive for a larger share of goods and services of public and private agencies by removing injustices. Unless and until we enkindle the very feel and inner feeling of an individual, as an individual or even as a group, would be very important. Self-realizations and being ready to work for no matter what challenges that come towards working on such circumstances. Secondly, arouse them from apathy and inaction by showing them appropriate targets and teaching them tactics for collective actions. People need to come being collective and pool their faculties and energy together, which cannot be shaken off so easily. The idea is to make these groups strong enough to confront the leadership exploiters of the community, so that they may get some share of goods and resources, wages, of services, whatever they may be. Now we have almost completed looking at the concept of groups, the essence of working with the groups, importance of it, the different dynamics and the different theories why group required and how groups can be strengthened. So on the conclusion, I just would state by making some comments that community organization recognizes the spirit of democratic values and principles with the focus on certain democratic involvement. Because groups are individual groups with its members, and each of these individuals and as a groups have every right to participate, voice out their opinion, and get ready to work resolving their own problems. It believes that through the collective strengths of the people, better teamwork and adoptions of scientific methods, comprehensive solutions can be provided to social problems. I believe that through the collective strengths of the people, better teamwork and adoptions of scientific methods, comprehensive solutions can be provided to social problems. Because these collective activities also gives the sense and essence of empowerment, and each of these groups are extremely important to streamline their own strategies of development rather than being dependent on someone else or third party to come and resolve their problems. It also requires skills for studying community using a variety of techniques, identifying and developing leaders, small and large groups, and building working relationship with people of different status and groups in the community. These are absolutely essential, working with communities and working with groups. And as I rightly said in the beginning, groups are integral part of the community. Without the help of groups and federating groups in the whole of a community for the community development is absolutely essential. So focusing on community development, therefore, we cannot set our focus aside, but take the help of group functioning and group formations and vibrating group work for resolving each of the community problems that it faces and encounters as time passes and goes by. I think that is all I have to say about group and group activities in the community sense of work. Hope you have understood, and I'm sure you will make a best use of some of the opinions that emerged in the module on group work. Also, if you require any additional reading, there's a reference list you can access and enlighten yourself for further comprehension. So with this, thank you for being patient and kind listening.